Hello and welcome to SpeakNest English Podcast Zone. If you're a student, job seeker, homemaker, or beginner in English, and you're dreaming of speaking with confidence on stage or in front of a group, this episode is made just for you. Today, we're learning how to speak in public and give presentations in English with clarity, confidence, and impact.
Maybe you're a student, wanting to nail that class presentation.
Or perhaps you're looking for a job, trying to ace the interview.
Yeah, or even if you're a homemaker, maybe leading a local project, or just starting out with English.
Right, and you have that dream, that desire to just spit your mind clearly.
Exactly. So our mission today, it's really about unlocking how to speak in public, how to give presentations in English.
And do it with real clarity. Confidence, too.
And impact. Yeah, impact, no matter where you're starting from.
So to really get into this, maybe we should first talk about why public speaking is, so powerful.
Good idea. Because it's not just for people in charge, right?
Mm-hmm.
It helps everyone.
It really does. It's interesting how it used to feel like something for, the elite.
Yeah.
But now it's just crucial for everyone. Think about it, just being able to clearly say what you think.
Not even in just a small team meeting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Even then.
Yeah.
It builds this really fundamental confidence. And it's not just about sounding confident. Some studies actually show that verbalizing your ideas clearly helps you understand them better yourself.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Solidifies in your own head.
Precisely.
And okay, that confidence.
Yeah.
It's more than just feeling good, right?
Oh, absolutely. It directly feeds into your communication skills. It has to.
How so?
Well, when you speak publicly, even informally, you learn things. You learn to structure your thoughts.
Logically, yeah.
You pick your words more deliberately. And you start actually paying attention to how people react, how they're responding.
It's like a feedback loop then.
Exactly. A loop that sharpens how you connect with others.
And it's fascinating how that then ripples out, isn't it?
It really is. It's not just for formal speeches.
Right. Like explaining something tricky to a friend.
Yeah, or maybe negotiating something, trying to get a better deal. Those everyday moments, they get better when you can express yourself clearly.
And confidently.
And confidently, yes. And if you connect that to, the bigger picture, that ability to communicate well, even when it's casual, it's sort of a cornerstone of what people call leadership presence.
Leadership presence. That still sounds a bit like something just for the bosses, for CEOs.
See, I don't think so. Not at all, really. Leadership presence isn't about your job title.
Okay.
It's more about how you, show up, how you influence people around you, whatever your role is.
So it's about conviction.
It's about speaking with conviction, and clarity. When you do that, people just naturally tend to listen more. They trust your view.
It's the match between what you say and how you say it.
You got it. That congruence.
Okay. Now, I bet for a lot of you listening, the idea of speaking, especially in English, brings up worries.
Yeah.
Like making mistakes.
Yes. And this is such an important point.
What is?
Clarity really beats perfection, hands down.
Okay, say more about that.
Your main goal always is just getting your message across effectively.
Right.
Understanding. So using words you're comfortable with, structuring your thoughts simply and clearly, that's way more impactful than stressing over perfect grammar.
Which might actually make you sound less natural anyway.
Exactly. It can hinder your flow, your authenticity, your audience. They just want to understand you, your ideas, your perspective. That's what matters.
So wrapping this part up then.
Yeah.
What does this all mean for you listening? Whether you're just practicing ordering a coffee in English or, prepping a big presentation.
I think it means recognizing that every single time you speak up.
Even small times.
Even small times. You're doing more than just sharing information. You're actively building confidence.
You're sharpening those communication skills we talked about.
And you're developing that leadership presence bit by bit.
Which can really open doors you didn't expect.
Absolutely. So maybe a final thought for you to consider. Think about your next chance to speak.
Could be tiny.
It would be tiny. But think. How could embracing that moment, really focusing on being clear rather than perfect, how could that amplify your voice?
And create new possibilities.
Yeah.
In work, in life.
How might that change things for you?
We all find ourselves needing to speak publicly, right? Maybe a big pitch, maybe just sharing an idea with the team. It happens all the time.
It really does. And having a good structure, that can make all the difference.
Totally. So today, we're kind of breaking down how to build a presentation that actually lands, that resonates. We've looked at some stuff on this. And the mission really is to boil down a simple but really powerful way to organize your thoughts before you even start talking.
Exactly. It's one thing to have great ideas, but you need, well, a framework, a way to deliver them so people actually get it.
Right.
And the sources we looked at point to this sort of basic structure.
Okay, yeah, basic structure.
Yeah.
Let's dive into that. So our material points to 3 main parts, 3 pillars. First one, the introduction.
That's the intro.
Now, it's got to be more than just, hi, I'm Bob. What's the real job of a strong opening?
Well, it's your big chance, really, your first impression. You need to tell them the topic, sure, but also, why should they care? Why, listen.
Ah, okay. So hook them immediately.
Hook them, yeah. And signal the value. What are they going to get out of listening to you for the next few minutes? Answer that, why should I listen? Question up front.
Makes sense. Okay, so the intro grabs them, tells them why they're here. Then we get into the main body.
Yeah, the main body. This is where you make your case.
Build the argument.
Build the argument. And what's interesting from what we saw is the advice to focus. Like, really focus. Just 2 or 3 key points.
Only 2 or 3, not like a huge list.
No, exactly. Resist the urge. It seems counterintuitive, maybe, but focusing lets you go deeper on each point. Give real examples, solid evidence. It's depth over breadth.
Quality over quantity. Okay?
Yeah.
So people actually remember those key things.
Precisely. You want those messages to stick.
Right. Okay, intro sets the stage, body delivers the core message.
Yeah.
And then the conclusion. How do we wrap it all up? What's the goal there?
The conclusion is your chance to, nail the landing. It's not just summarizing, though that's part of it. You briefly circle back to those main points, yes. But then you leave them with something. A clear takeaway, a memorable thought, maybe even a call to action. Something that stays with them after you're done.
Gotcha. So summarize, but also synthesize. Leave that lasting impression.
That's it.
Okay, let's recap this structure then. Intro. Hook them. State your topic and purpose. Main body. 2, maybe 3 key points backed up with good stuff, examples, evidence.
Focused.
Focused, right. And conclusion.
Yes.
Quick summary, then that final punchy message or takeaway.
You got it. And our source material had a pretty neat example of this, didn't it? About reading books.
Oh yeah, the reading example. Super simple. The intro is just like, hello everyone, today I will talk about the importance of reading books.
Straightforward. Topic, purpose, done.
Then the body, it laid out, what was it, 3 benefits?
Yeah, I think so. Improving vocabulary, reducing stress, and increasing knowledge. Something like that.
Right. And they made it real with that little personal story about reading fiction to relax.
Exactly. That personal touch, the anecdote, it makes it relatable. It's not just abstract ideas anymore.
Yeah. Stories stick. Okay. And the conclusion for that reading talk.
It was quite evocative. Something like, books are not just paper, they are doors to new worlds. Thank you for listening.
Nice.
Yeah.
Short, memorable, leaves you thinking a bit.
Connects back to the core idea.
And the source described this whole framework as, what was the phrase?
Simple, powerful, clear.
Simple, powerful, clear.
Yeah.
I like that. It really suggests you don't need to overcomplicate things to be effective.
Absolutely not. Sometimes the simplest approach is the strongest. And this structure, it's so versatile, you know?
Yeah. How so?
Well, think about it. Boardroom presentation works. Class lecture works. Just pitching an idea to your colleague over coffee. This basic flow, intro, key points, conclusion. It just helps organize your thoughts.
Clarity of thought leads to clarity of communication.
You nailed it. That's fundamentally what it's about.
So for everyone listening, as you think about the next time you need to share something, maybe present an idea. Consider this structure.
Intro, body, conclusion.
How could consciously, using that framework, thinking about your hook, focusing your main points, crafting that final message, how could that change how well you connect? How much impact you have?
Something to think about.
Definitely something to think about.
We're looking at some really practical English phrases today, the kind that can genuinely boost your public speaking.
Yeah, things for presentations, meetings, basically making your message land better.
Exactly. We've pulled together some key terms, sort of foundational language, really, to help you sound more confident, more clear.
And it's about giving you, the listener, something solid to start with, whether it's a big formal talk or just, leading your team meeting.
It's amazing how just a few well-chosen words can shift how people hear you.
Totally. Makes a huge difference.
Okay, so let's dive right in. Starting strong, that first impression, our sources mention things like, well, the simple good morning, everyone. Very direct.
It is direct, and its power is in that clarity, I think. It just sets the stage immediately, acknowledges everyone.
Kind of formal, maybe. Establishes a bit of authority.
Yeah, it can, especially those more formal settings. It's respectful, but also like, okay, we're starting now.
Then there's I'm excited to share with you. That one definitely brings some energy.
Oh yeah, you can feel the difference. That enthusiasm, it's kind of infectious. You know, it pulls the audience in, makes them think, okay, what's interesting here?
Gets them leaning in a bit.
Exactly. Primes them positively.
What about, let me begin by, that feels quite structured, like you're laying out the plan.
Mm-hmm. And that's the benefit. It signals, I know where I'm going with this, which can be really reassuring for an audience.
Especially if it's complex stuff.
Right. Or if time's tight. Sets expectations clearly. Helps them track your thinking right from the beginning.
Okay, moving on. Making points clearer, illustrating them. For example, we see this everywhere. Why is it such a staple?
Well, it's just a super clear signpost, isn't it? It tells the audience, okay, hang on, here comes some proof. Or, a specific case.
Makes things less abstract.
Precisely. It makes the idea tangible, easier to grasp, and definitely more memorable. It grounds your claim.
Then how about, let's take a look at, this sounds a bit more active, maybe visual.
It does, yeah. It directs their focus very specifically. Could be to a slide or just zooming in on a piece of data. It re-engages people.
Sort of like saying, pay attention to this specific thing.
Uh-huh. And it suggests a closer look, which adds a bit of weight to whatever you're pointing out.
And then this shows that. Crucial for connecting the evidence back to the point, right?
Absolutely crucial. You can't just drop an example and assume everyone gets why it matters.
You have to spell it out.
You really do.
Yeah.
Explicitly saying, this shows that.
Yeah.
Links the what to the so what. It makes sure your conclusion's the one they understand. Strengthens the whole argument.
Right. Okay, keeping the flow going, connecting words. Secondly, seems so basic. Is it actually doing much work?
Oh, definitely. Don't underestimate the basics. Following, firstly, secondly, provides like mental structure for the listener.
Like signposts on a road.
Exactly that. It helps them track the argument easily. Less mental effort needed to follow you. Keeps things clear.
And in addition, how is that different?
Feels like you're just adding more to the same pile. Sort of, yeah. It signals you're building on the current point.
Yeah.
Adding more support, another related detail, without changing the subject completely. Reinforces the idea.
Okay, and then the big one. On the other hand, why is signaling contrast so important?
Well, it shows you're not just presenting one side. It demonstrates balance, critical thinking.
Builds credibility.
Hugely. Acknowledging other viewpoints, even briefly, shows you've considered them. It actually makes your own stance seem stronger, more considered.
Okay, great point. So we've started, well, given examples, connected ideas. Now, wrapping up, landing the plane. To conclude, classic end signal.
It is. And it works psychologically. It tells the audience, okay, we're nearing the end, time to consolidate. They mentally prepare for the summary.
Gets them ready for the main takeaway.
And then there's, let me summarize, which is even more direct about recapping. Why is that summary so vital? Because memories are faulty. A clear, concise summary hammers home your core message one last time.
Make sure the key points stick.
Exactly. It reinforces what you really want them to remember long after you've stopped talking.
Yeah.
Your final chance to solidify things.
And finally, just thank you for your time. Simple politeness or more to it?
It's polite, yes, but it's also respect. You're acknowledging their attention, their engagement. It leaves that final positive feeling.
Fosters goodwill.
Absolutely. Ends things on a gracious note.
So to recap our own chat then, starting strong, illustrating points clearly, connecting ideas smoothly, and finishing with impact, all built with these fairly simple phrases.
Yeah, and you can really see, can't you, how consciously picking even just a few of these can lift your whole delivery, helps you connect better.
Definitely food for thought. So for you listening, maybe think about this. Which of these areas, starting, illustrating, connecting, concluding, feels like the place you could use a boost? What's maybe the first phrase you could consciously try out next time you speak, just to see how it feels, how it impacts your audience? Something to consider.
Okay, so you're looking to command the room when you speak, right? Not just give info, but really inspire.
Yeah, we get that. And that's exactly what we're digging into today.
Think of this as a focused look at mastering the nonverbal side of presenting, specifically your body language and your voice. Our mission here is pretty simple. Boil down some practical techniques you can start using like immediately in your next talk.
And it's fascinating, isn't it? That whole silent conversation that's happening while you're speaking.
Totally.
Your posture, for example, it's not just how you look. It fundamentally shifts how your message lands and, even how you feel.
Okay, let's start there then. Posture. We always hear stand tall.
Yeah.
But what's the actual, the real impact of doing that?
Well, think about it evolutionarily, maybe. A tall, open stance. Historically, that signaled confidence, maybe even a bit of dominance. Things that naturally make people pay attention.
Draws people in.
Exactly, and physiologically. Studies actually show that just adopting an upright posture can boost your own feelings of confidence. It's subtle, but it's powerful.
Interesting. Okay, what about smiling? A real smile, not forced. What's its job beyond just being polite?
Oh, a natural smile is huge for building rapport. It just signals you're approachable, trustworthy.
Makes sense.
And when you smile genuinely, people often, they smile back, maybe unconsciously. It just creates a warmer, more receptive vibe for what you have to say.
Connection is key, definitely. All right, let's talk hands. They can either help you make your point or just fidget and distract. How do we use them well?
The key word is really intention. Think about using, say, open palms. That conveys openness.
Okay.
Or maybe a really deliberate gesture to underline a key number or show a contrast. What you want to avoid is that nervous energy, fidgeting, tapping, sort of aimless movements.
So they distract.
Yeah, they pull focus from your message. Every gesture should ideally have a purpose.
Purposeful movement. Got it. Okay, let's switch gears to the voice. Probably the most common advice is slow down. Why is that so important?
Well, when we're presenting, especially if we're a bit nervous, the natural thing is to speed up, right?
Oh, yeah. Guilty.
But speaking slowly, deliberately, it gives your audience the time they need to actually process the information. Plus, it makes you sound calmer, more authoritative, less rushed, less anxious.
And it's not just the speed, it's also about using pauses, isn't it?
Yeah.
Where does a well-placed silence really help?
Strategic pauses, yeah. They're incredibly effective, especially right after you make a key point.
Like letting it sink in.
Exactly. It gives the audience that beat to absorb it, to let it resonate. It kind of underlines the importance without you having to say, this is important. And bonus, gives you a sec to gather your thoughts too.
That makes total sense.
Yeah.
Creating that space for understanding them. Those pre-talk jitters. Any vocal tricks to help manage that anxiety?
Absolutely. Deep breathing.
Yes.
But specifically, diaphragmatic breathing. Practicing that before you go on can really calm your nervous system down.
How does that help the voice?
Slow, deep breaths help regulate your heart rate, which leads to a steadier, more controlled voice. Less shaky, It's simple, but honestly, super powerful.
Okay, so we've got these tools. Posture, smiling, hands, pace, pauses, breathing. How can you, listening now, actually start using them? What are some practical ways to check yourself?
A really great starting point. Practice in front of a mirror. Seriously, it lets you see your body language, your posture. Are you smiling naturally? What are your hands doing from an outside perspective?
So you spot the difference between how you think you look and reality.
Precisely. It can be quite revealing.
Okay, good one. What's another method? Maybe something more comprehensive.
Recording yourself on video, that gives you even richer feedback.
Ooh, okay. The dreaded video recording.
Huh? Yeah. It can feel a bit confronting, but you get to see and hear the whole package. Your visual presence, your vocal delivery, all of it. It's just invaluable for spotting areas you might want to refine.
So to recap the core things, stand confidently, smile naturally, use deliberate hand gestures, speak slowly and clearly, use those pauses strategically, and breathe deeply. These aren't just small tweaks, are they?
Not at all. They're fundamental. When these things align, they create this really cohesive, powerful presence. It seriously boosts your ability to, speak boldly and actually inspire people.
It's the whole message.
Exactly. Your body and voice are amplifying your words, not distracting from them.
Right. So here's something to think about as we wrap up. Next time you have to speak, pick just one of these techniques, just one to consciously focus on. And consider how even that single adjustment, that one small change, might just amplify your message and deepen that connection with your audience. What could it be for you? We're looking at a really interesting short piece. It's an example public speech titled, Why Learning English is Important.
Yeah, it's quite neat.
Our mission, essentially, is to figure out the main arguments presented here for learning English, see how it's structured, and maybe pull out some insights for public speaking or even just personal growth.
Right. And our source is basically just this one example speech. It's short, but there's quite a bit to unpack.
Definitely. It's surprisingly dense for its length.
It really is. A good example of how you don't need lots of words to make a strong point.
Okay, so let's talk structure first, because that really stands out. It just starts right away, no messing about, then gives 3 clear reasons, backs them up a little, and then a solid conclusion.
Exactly. Super clear. Intro, body with 3 points, conclusion. It's a classic structure for a reason it works, especially for short talks.
Yeah, it's a great takeaway for anyone needing to, get an idea across quickly and clearly. That rule of 3 thing seems to be at play too.
Absolutely. Makes it memorable, easy to follow. So the first reason given is
English connects us with the world. And it mentions studying abroad, travel, getting jobs.
right.
So for you listening, if you're thinking about new experiences or maybe different career paths, this point probably hits home.
Yeah, it frames English as like a master key, doesn't it? For unlocking those global interactions.
A key. Yeah, I like that. It opens doors that might otherwise just stay shut.
Then the second point.
Access to knowledge. English gives us access to knowledge. It talks about the internet, books.
Which is huge. I mean, think about how much information out there is primarily in English.
Right. So if you want to stay informed, really dig into topics, or just not feel overwhelmed by barriers to information, English proficiency is a massive plus.
It really expands your resources, doesn't it? It's not just more info, but often more diverse perspectives too.
Okay. And the third reason, this one's maybe a bit more personal.
Yeah. English builds confidence.
The speech says, quite simply, when I speak English, I feel proud of myself.
It's direct, but very relatable, I think. That feeling of accomplishment when you manage to communicate in another language. It's a real confidence booster.
Totally. It moves beyond just the practical stuff, jobs, traveled, how it makes you feel, that sense of personal achievement.
And that internal reward, that pride, it's a huge motivator for sticking with something challenging, like language learning. It's about empowerment, really.
Yeah, definitely. So wrapping it up, the conclusion, I thought this was quite powerful.
Me too. It says, learning English is not just about grammar. It is about growing, dreaming, and reaching new opportunities.
It elevates the whole thing, right? It's not just memorizing verb tables.
Exactly. It connects language learning directly to your bigger life goals, your aspirations. It reframes it as a tool for growth.
It makes it much more meaningful than just, a school subject.
Right. And the source even nudges you to try this structure yourself. It suggests writing a similar short speech on my dream job or my country.
Which just shows how flexible that basic structure is.
Yeah.
State your point, give your reasons, conclude strongly.
You can apply that framework to almost anything you want to communicate clearly, once you get the hang of it.
So pulling it all together, what are the key takeaways? Well, the power of a simple, structured message is clear.
Definitely. Keep it simple, keep it clear.
And this example highlights how English can, open doors globally, give access to knowledge, boost confidence.
The what? The benefits.
But maybe the bigger idea here is about defining your why. The speech is persuasive because the reasons are clear.
Knowing why you're doing something.
Which leads to a final thought for you to consider.
Yeah.
How could identifying and really clearly articulating your why, whatever goal you're chasing, learning a language or something else, entirely be that crucial first step, not just for motivating yourself, but for communicating its importance to others too?
Something to chew on. How powerful is articulating your own why?
Okay, let's talk about public speaking. I think whether it's a big presentation or just, speaking up in a meeting, feeling confident when you talk, that's something most of us want, right? So for this deep dive, we're really focusing on that very first hurdle, the nerves right at the beginning. Our mission really is to pull out some practical tips, how to get past those jitters and make more of an impact.
Yeah, and it's amazing how common that feeling is, that initial nervousness. It's almost like universal. The material we looked at really highlights that. Even the speakers who look totally comfortable now, they often started out feeling pretty shaky. So just acknowledging that feeling, maybe not fighting it so hard, that seems to be step one.
Absolutely. And it's so easy to get caught up thinking you need some, special talent or a certain way of talking, like a fancy accent or using really big words. But the source material, it kind of busts that myth, thankfully. So you really don't need all that to communicate well.
Exactly. It's often just internal stuff, isn't it? Things we think are holding us back, like our accent or feeling we need complex language. But the core of speaking effectively, according to this source, it really just boils down to 3 key things: clarity, honesty, and practice.
Okay, let's dig into those. Clarity first. The source makes it sound pretty straightforward, basically just making sure people can easily understand what you're saying. Simple communication, maybe structuring things simply, like one main idea in a sentence.
Precisely. Keep it clear, keep it focused. And then there's honesty, which here means, being authentic, genuine, letting your actual voice, your real interest in the topic come through. People connect with that sincerity, don't they? Think about talking about something you really care about, that natural enthusiasm. That's the goal.
Right, that makes sense. And then practice.
Yeah.
Seems obvious, maybe. But the material really hammers home how important it is. It's not about being perfect instantly. It's more about consistent effort, repeating it to get comfortable.
Yeah. And what's really helpful are the first steps it suggests. They're very accessible. Like the idea of starting with just one sentence, that's brilliant. It takes away that huge pressure of, oh no, I have to give a whole speech.
Right. It's like dipping your toe in. Just one sentence. Get okay with that. Then maybe build up longer phrases, a couple of sentences together.
Yeah.
And the places to practice it suggest low pressure stuff, like chats with family, or even just talking to yourself in the mirror.
Totally. And it also mentions recording yourself, even just quick voice notes or, like doing podcasts, things like this. It's super valuable because you get to actually hear yourself. You can notice where you might need a bit more clarity or maybe adjust your pacing. And it's private, safe.
Yeah, it really drives home that idea of gradual progress. Small steps. I like the image the source uses, like each little step makes you a bit stronger, a bit more confident. You don't just jump from anxious to giving a keynote speech overnight, and that's okay. It's about building that speaking muscle, over time with small, doable actions.
Exactly. So if you zoom out a bit, it's really about changing how we view public speaking. It's not this impossible quest for flawlessness. Fundamentally, it's just about sharing your ideas effectively. And that starts by tackling that initial nervousness through clarity, being genuine, and yes, that consistent small step practice.
So thinking about all this, maybe the question for you listening is, what's one tiny step you could take, like today? What's just one sentence you can maybe practice saying out loud just to start building that confidence? Today, we're looking at a specific challenge aimed at boosting your public speaking.
It's from some materials on English for public speaking and presentations, a section called Challenge for this week.
Right. And our mission really is to unpack this challenge, see what it's about, and, figure out how doing it could actually help improve communication skills.
Because the core idea is pretty simple, isn't it?
Yeah, it really boils down to you've got to take action to get better. Reading is fine,
But doing is where the real learning happens.
That's it, exactly. Theory is one thing, practice is another game entirely.
Okay, so let's get into the challenge itself. What are the actual steps?
All right. First, you need a topic, something you genuinely enjoy.
Like a favorite film.
Yeah.
Or maybe a hobby.
Yeah, or even a dream you're chasing, anything you're passionate about.
Got it. So pick your topic, then what?
Then prepare a short speech, just 1 minute long, keep it concise.
1 minute, okay. Seems manageable.
And then, importantly, you got to practice it out loud.
Not just in your head.
No, actually speaking the words.
Makes sense. What comes after practicing?
This is a key part, recording yourself.
Ah, the recording step. That can feel a little awkward for people, right?
It definitely can, but listening back, that's where you get amazing insights.
How so? What kind of insights?
Well, you hear your pacing, you're rushing, are you dragging? You catch those filler words.
The ums and ahs we don't even realize we're using.
Exactly. It's like seeing yourself from the outside. Helps you get past your own sort of internal filter,
Okay, so record and listen back. That makes sense for self-awareness. What's the last bit?
The final step is sharing it.
Sharing the recording.
Yep. The source suggests sharing it, maybe with a friend, or even posting it online somewhere.
Ooh, okay. That definitely sounds like pushing the comfort zone a bit. Is that fear of sharing maybe the biggest block for people here?
I think it often is, yeah. It's about vulnerability, isn't it?
Totally.
Maybe starting small helps. Just one trusted friend. Good point. Ease into it. But the principle behind all this, it's really about the doing.
Precisely. It hammers home that practical application is, everything for skill building. You can read theory all day.
But until you actually try it, it doesn't quite stick.
Right. It's like that production effect idea in learning. Creating something, like the speech, locks it in better than just passively taking it in.
And this leads to what the source calls the magic that happens when you take action. Let's talk about that magic. What does that actually mean? What good stuff comes out of this?
Well, first off, confidence. Just going through the motions, preparing, speaking, listening, sharing, that builds a sense of, okay, I did that.
Facing the fear a little bit.
Yeah. And then there's that self-awareness we mentioned. Hearing yourself is huge for figuring out where to improve. You just can't get that from thinking alone.
Right.
And finally, the sharing part, even if it's just one person, that brings in the audience element, which is kind of the whole point of public speaking, isn't it? Connecting with others.
Mm-hmm. Getting that external perspective, maybe some feedback.
Exactly. Builds on the self-awareness you got from the recording.
And for you, the listener, maybe you're someone trying to learn things fast, get up to speed. This sounds like a really direct way to do it.
Oh, definitely. Hands-on learning like this is super effective. You're not just reading about speaking, you're speaking.
It feels more immediate, more personalized. Why is that kind of learning so powerful for skills?
Well, you're actually, building the neural pathways. Your brain learns by doing the thing. It adapts faster.
So connect this to the real world. Maybe you need to prep for meetings or catch up in a field.
Absolutely. Being able to speak clearly, confidently. That's valuable everywhere, right? Professionally, personally.
This little 1-minute challenge, it's like a mini workout for those bigger communication muscles.
It really is. You might even notice things like your vocal variety. Is your tone interesting or a bit flat? The recording helps with that too.
So wrapping this up, the big takeaway seems pretty clear. Improving isn't some secret formula.
Nope. It's about taking action, doing the work, even small steps like this 1-minute speech.
Prepare it, speak it, listen, maybe share it. Just do it.
So a final thought for you listening. What kind of magic could happen for you if you actually tried this?
Yeah. What might you learn about your own style? And how could knowing that help you connect better when talking about things you really care about?
That's a wrap on episode 30, English for Public Speaking and Presentations. Always remember, your voice matters, your story matters. Don't let English stop you, let it set you free. In the next episode, we'll talk about English for everyday problem solving and complaints, like what to say when your internet isn't working or when food is wrong at a restaurant. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep speaking English.